Well, welcome to today's TQ Solutions overview on propelling performance and development. In the next few minutes, we're going to really take a look at the TalentQuest talent management software and really touch on a number of things and how we can leverage the software to propel performance and development. So some of the items we're going to touch on are how we foster frequent conversations and performance-based conversations. How do we measure goals and performance on an ongoing basis? From there, how do we identify gaps for development and put together a development plan? How do we then reward behaviors that we see within the organization, and just overall providing visibility into the workforce? All right, we're going to log in here now to Verum Analytics, which is a fictitious company that we use for demonstration purposes, and I'm going to log in as Carmen Hernandez. And Carmen is a manager within Verum Analytics. As we can see, Carmen is first taken to her task dashboard, and front and center here we can see all of the different tasks that Carmen has to complete. Lots of different things that are specific to her and to the business and to her team. These are all notified to her, these tasks, via email and email notifications, and as we approach a due date, and if a task hasn't been completed, Carmen will automatically get reminder notifications as well. As you'll notice as we go through this, the application is incredibly user-friendly, and really 90%, if not more, of what Carmen needs to do can be done in 2 clicks or less. So in addition to her task dashboard, which we see front and center, across the top, Carmen also has access to her toolbar. And these are really quick links to key areas of the system. So first and foremost, what I want to show up here is there's a link to the employee profile, and we're going to touch on that more here in just a minute. We can see Carmen has access to her team, and this provides her with instant visibility to her team in an org chart view. So as we can see, Carmen can see her direct reports and even drill down further into her direct reports to see their team as well. So quick information and visibility into her team. Okay, from there, Carmen also has access to some key dashboards that we'll show a little bit more, but we can see we have lots of different dashboards within the application to highlight and summarize visually key information within the system, both status information as well as analytical information. Additionally, there's a performance journal, which we can see and come back to as well. But let's start with this employee profile, and Carmen wants to look up something on one of her direct reports, Rollo Banks. So we're going to go into the site-wide search up here, and as you can see, all I need to do is type Rollo's name, and within 1 click I can actually be taken into Rollo's profile. So very quickly, very easily, I can access this information about Rollo. So now we're within the TQ employee profile, and Carmen can see basic information about Rollo that would come over from your HRIS system through an automated feed, and we can see this key information such as date of hire, job title, time and position, salary information, that type of stuff. Additionally, there are self-service components within this profile, and Rollo himself can update information around promotion willingness, desired positions, location preferences, etc. Additionally, Carmen can see what internal positions Rollo has held, external positions, job skills, language skills, academic background, both formal education as well as any e-learning and other education. So any e-learning that's completed in the LMS automatically updates this portion of the profile, as well as things like memberships, licenses, and honors. So this is a complete view of all information about Rollo. Can easily see his team. We can go into what particular goals Rollo has and has been working on and progress towards those goals, as well as any past results that Rollo has completed, both potential and performance scores, as well as past performance reviews, 360s, and any assessment information. So lots of good information right here at Carmen's fingertips. But I want to go back to this performance journal. So this is a place where throughout the course of the year, employees can go to document performance-related information. And a couple of key pieces here. Carmen has access to her own journal, but she also, and more importantly, has access to a journal for each one of her direct reports. So many organizations out there will leverage this performance journal for a couple different things. One, to document, again, performance-related information. but also many organizations are shifting and moving to a more agile performance management process that are not rating based and less formal but more frequent. And this performance journal provides one vehicle and one place in which to make that happen. So as we can see, Carmen has documented a lot of one-on-one performance meetings with Rollo, and I can very easily click in to see what the contents of those were. And as you can see, we had conversations around what's working, what barriers Rollo is facing, what I can do to help remove those barriers, and any action items that we agreed upon. And as you can see, we can also choose to share this with Rollo so that it goes into his journal as well. So very easy to come in here. If I want to very quickly add a new entry, I can do so, title it, put the date in, provide any of my comments, and save that off. So a great way to document performance-related information throughout the course of the year, as well as one avenue and one place to capture those more informal but more frequent performance-related conversations. Okay, so that may be one place in which we're documenting performance, but another way in which we can do that is really through a more structured performance review process. And as we can see here, Carmen has a task to fill out an appraisal, again on one of her direct reports, Rollo. So she would have received an email to notify her that she needed to do this, and within one click I can actually now be into completing this particular task of filling out the appraisal for Rollo. The contents of this performance review form are all very flexible, very configurable. As we can see here, the tabs across the top represent the different sections of this particular form. In this case, Carmen has already started to fill this out, and as we'll see, Rollo has also done an optional self-assessment as well. So here, with clicking into this first main section around goals, we can see what goals Rollo and Carmen had agreed upon for him to work on, and then those automatically get pulled into the review document to be discussed. So here we can see how I've rated Rollo on this particular goal. I can also see his reported progress towards completion, and put many comments in here that I wish to elaborate on. Now, if I would like to see how did Rollo rate himself on these areas, by clicking on the above button, I can very quickly and easily now see how Rollo rated himself and any comments that he put in here around this as well, so I can see some alignment. So this form, very simple, very user-friendly to fill out, saves after every click. So we can see the goals. We can see that there's a competency area to rate on as well. So what are the particular competencies and behaviors? And as a manager, again, I have the ability to rate, which I've done a 4. I can see how Rollo rated himself, provide my comments. If I'm struggling with comments, we have a writing assistant built into the application that provides me as a manager really snippets of information and word starters, so I can see something around endorses leadership and chooses effective leaders, and then choose to adjust the tone more positively 2 levels or more negatively 2 levels. And as we can see, this is building a preview sentence down below that I can insert and then adjust further. So lots of good information in here. If I want to show co-rater responses within this, I certainly can as well. Okay, so as we continue moving on here, we can see lots of good information in here, very easy and visible for me to look at. Again, this is all configurable. As we move through other sections, we can have open-ended questions. These can be, yes, no, multi-rater, multi-select types of questions as well. As we move through, ultimately now, Carmen can finish filling out this particular form. The system will automatically calculate scores based on how she's filled it out, and if we want to allow these to be adjusted, we can certainly do so as well. As I mentioned, there's also co-rater capabilities in here, so I can see if we have co-raters, how have they impacted the rating for this. Now, right from within this form as well, we do have a quick goal launch feature. So this allows Carmen, as she is filling out this form or conducting a review conversation, and a goal comes to mind that she wants Rollo to work on, very easily can come in, create that goal right within the form without leaving the form, title it, map it to a higher level corporate goal, and put my details in here and save it off. And then I'm right back to where I left off. So very, very easy to see this information. So that's, again, another way in which we can, in a more formal, structured way, capture information around performance and how individuals are performing on a day-to-day basis or on a quarterly basis or yearly basis. Okay, so we've talked a little bit about a couple different ways to measure goals and performance. Let's also take a look from here at once we've done that, how do we look at what Rollo needs to work on. So we're going to go to Rollo's profile again and go to our quick search up here and click into the past results area for his profiles. And what we're going to see is Rollo actually has some previous appraisals that have been completed. And we're going to pull up one of these particular forms in here and actually take a look at his previous appraisal. And what we'll notice in here is we can see the overall score, but and any of the rating information and details. But more importantly, I want to get down to the bottom of this particular report, because what the system can do is identify strengths that Rollo has based on ratings as well as areas for improvement. But more importantly, we can now then identify what are some specific developmental recommendations to address those gaps. And as we can see, these could be books, they can be videos, they can also be e-learning courses. So here we've got an online course in the learning management system around managing action plans, and within one click I can actually be into enrolling Rollo into this particular course. So I can see what those are, identify those, enroll him into that particular course as well. Now from here I can also quickly go over to his goal tab to see what developmental items have we already put in here. And so we can see what courses we've attributed to Rollo, again based on those gaps that were identified in the review. So we've got a communication class, something around Adobe products, and time management course. So I can see what he has as well as his status and progress towards completion on these particular courses. Okay, so we've talked about how do we capture performance and measure performance, how do we identify gaps, how do we quickly and easily put together a development plan. So if I want to add something to that development plan, I can come here, again, see what's in here, simply add a new goal, and we're off and running. Now having done all that, we've got a pretty good picture of what Rollo's been doing, what he's working on, but now let's say as we move forward in the process, we want to reward Rollo. So from a compensation perspective. So again, with a few strokes of the keyboard, I can go into the compensation portion of Rollo's profile and see that through this process, already gone through, and Rollo has been given a bonus amount of 9% as well as a merit increase of 4%. And if I want to get into all the details of this and how this was done through the compensation module, I can get in and see any of those details. So I know where this stands and how that compensation was allocated based on performance scores, taking into account budget information from the guidelines of the organization, and working through the whole process in that way. So we can see where he stands and any of the details around any of these particular areas, again, what those particular changes were. And again, there's a whole process here around that to understand what's been recommended, what's been approved, etc. All right, so we've talked about how we measure, how we reward, and showing some of our visibility, but maybe now Carmen wants to go in and take a look at some dashboards, not just with Rollo himself, but maybe we want to look at more holistically, she wants to look across her team. So she can very quickly and easily go into a dashboard. This particular one is going to be looking at performance appraisals and more scores, so from an analysis standpoint. So we can see a distribution of ratings for Carmen's team. We can see some additional information here. But maybe more importantly, I want to look at what were my top rated competencies. So I want to filter on those particular areas. And I want to know, again, strength across not just Rollo, but this is across my entire team. So be able to very, again, easily have that visibility into my team and how they're performing, so I can see what those top rated competencies are. But just as importantly, I want to see what are the lower rated competencies and be able to see again what those particular ones are, because maybe these are the ones that we want to work on and address for my team. So lots of dashboards, very good quick insight in a visual way into key information, both status-wise as well as we saw in that case, some analytics for my particular team. Now, in addition to that, there are a number of aggregate reports that are built into the system, and these are all, of course, access to these is driven based on their user rights, but from here we can see around performance there's lots of different reports that can be run. These are all on-demand reports, can be run in real time, and all have different ways in which you can filter and slice and dice this information. Each report has different pieces of data that can be used, and again can be run on demand at any time to give you the information you need. So as we can see, lots of information here that has been provided to Carmen and for Carmen to really have intelligent, automated ways to go about propelling performance and development within the organization. So visibility into the employee, what their capabilities are, how we measure performance on an ongoing basis, how we identify gaps for development, how we put together a development plan based on those gaps, how we reward behaviors, and ultimately visibility into key reporting information inside the organization. So with that, thank you for your time, and hopefully this TQ Solutions overview on propelling performance and development was a helpful one, and stay tuned for further solution overviews. Thanks so much.